the Prime Minister needs to clearly step down. He needs to follow his father and take a walk now, not in the snow, but on the beach, since he loves the surf so damn much.
The Canada Strong and Free Network Conference brings together many conservative individuals from all walks of life to discuss pressing issues occurring in Canada. Kevin Vuong, a former Liberal who now sits as an independent in the House of Commons for the riding of Spadina, Fort York, was present at the event. He is the son of refugees who fled the violence of the Vietnam War. Mr. Vuong has been vocal about the rise of far left, as featured in his recent article published in the Toronto Sun titled "The Regressive Left are wrapping up the social contract."
I think what we've been seeing, especially in Toronto, are things where typically, anyone would expect our government to take care of, right? Enforce our laws, stand up against issues of hate, keep people safe. And unfortunately, especially now under the leadership of Olivia Chow, they're not seeing that. Right? For just democratic societies, the concept of the social contract is in exchange for some of our individual freedoms and paying taxes, we expect our authorities, governments, to be able to keep us safe, to be able to make sure that our laws are fairly applied to everyone. And unfortunately, that is not happening in Toronto. That's not happening in my community. It's not happening across the city.
Wow, what a night. If you ever doubted what's possible together, if you ever questioned your faith in a better future and what we can do with each other, for each other, tonight is your answer.
I think initially they branded themselves as the progressives, right? Or the progressive left. I think what I've come to realize is the more appropriate term to describe them is they're the regressive left. Because as much as they claim to care about diverse perspectives, as soon as someone like myself dares to challenge their position, all of a sudden they accuse me of being racist, or they accuse me of being a white supremacist. And it's like, one, are you blind? Have you looked at me? White supremacist. But also the fact that they don't actually care or believe in the positions that they claim to. They only do so when it's convenient to them, and they immediately break all of that as soon as they're challenged by anyone else.
In the past few weeks, a commission was held to investigate foreign interference in Canada, particularly after bombshell revelations of China direct meddling during the 2019-2021 federal elections.
Ultimately, state actors are able to conduct foreign interference successfully in Canada because there are no consequences, either legal or political. Foreign interference is therefore a low risk and high reward endeavor. Did the director convey in those words or in some similar words that message that this is a low risk, high reward endeavor because there are no consequences?
No.
Many people and politicians were asked to testify before a commissioner to shed light on what happened. Here is Vuong's stance on the matter.
Because the reality is there are things that the Trudeau government could have done years ago. First and foremost, they could create the foreign agent registry because you need to shine a light into where the agents and the operatives hide and where they operate. Why haven't they done that? The second thing is they could designate the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, the terrorist group that murdered 55 of our own people, that shot down flight PS-752. And I had a friend that was a passenger on that plane. And yet they haven't done that. Why? Why do they continue to allow the IRGC to legally operate on our soil, to harass our people, after murdered 55 of our own people? There's no rational explanation, and unfortunately, I am not hopeful that the inquiry will really come out with any definitive, tangible action to keep not only Canadians safe, but to protect our democracy.
And for the 2019 election, for the 2021 election, that independent, rigorous, responsible body said, no, the elections held. The integrity of our elections was not compromised. As part of those briefings, as part of all the security briefings I have on a regular basis on a wide range of subjects, including the interference into the affairs of our country by other countries, there has never been any information given to me on the funding of federal candidates by China.
I just want to confirm that CSIS provided briefings to the panel of five in the lead up to the election.
Yes, CSIS did.
All right, thank you. Here, as CSIS writes, we know that the PRC clandestinely and deceptively interfered in both the 2019 and 2021 general elections. In both cases, these FI activities were pragmatic in nature and focused primarily on supporting those viewed to be either pro-PRC or neutral on issues of interest to the PRC government. They also write at least 18 candidates and 13 staff members were implicated in PRC FI networks. This included members of multiple political parties.
I don't understand how you can have a prime minister who does not read his reports, his briefings that he gets from the experts. And it's worse because a lot of the times when he's trying to push the disinformation on the carbon tax, for example, which hurts more Canadians than it helps, and that's been confirmed and validated by the independent and nonpartisan parliamentary budget officer, Justin Trudeau will say, listen to the experts. Well, he doesn't even read the experts' reports, right? So how can he tell us to do that when this is how he conducts himself? And frankly, leadership starts at the top. I now understand why the former Minister of National Defense, when we had abandoned people in Afghanistan, his excuse was, oh, I didn't see the emails. Or why the Public Safety Minister had failed previously to inform Canadians that were being targeted by the Chinese Communist Party for foreign interference when he said, oh, well, I didn't set up my access yet to read the emails because that were top secret because, I don't know, because they were hard. How can these be considered legitimate excuses for not doing their jobs? They're failing Canadians, and leadership starts at the top.
Do you think Justin Trudeau have the moral authority to continue to lead Canada after what unveiled in the inquiry?
I think in any other country, what would have happened, pick a scandal, right? Whether it is blackface, as for one, to how he's made so many Canadians struggle to make ends meet. We have 2 million Canadians who line up at the food bank, 1 million more projected to add this year. That's almost a tenth of the country. 1 in 10 Canadians have to line up at the food bank. That's a failure. Any other country, the leader then would have resigned because we clearly need to change course. Safe supply, right? They're legalized distribution of drugs. Diversions of these drug supplies going into the hands of children.
The evidence is clear. Harm reduction measures save lives.
That would have taken out any other leader in a rational country. And yet here we have a government and a party enabled by the NDP as their buttress to help them as part of a coalition to be able to stay in power despite the fact that the majority of Canadians don't want that. How is that considered okay? The Prime Minister needs to clearly step down. He needs to follow his father and take a walk now, not in the snow, but on the beach, since he loves the surf so damn much.
Mr. Blair, given what we know right now about the bus of foreign national students coming to vote for Han Dong, do you still believe that Han Dong did nothing wrong?
And again, we have some intelligence reporting that we have responded to. You're now assuming facts, and that's a different thing.
When you met with the commissioner, you were called 1 bus. As of today, we're up to 3, right?
When I had the interview, my memory had 1 bus, and then quickly, I correct my records, and there was 2 buses that my campaign rented.
But I want your evidence. I want you to tell the commissioner under oath whether that school in 2019 was located in your riding or not.
I can't give you that information because I don't recall.
And if it turns out that the People's Republic of China helped you to your seat in the House of Commons in this way, do you accept that the People's Canada have the right to know that?
Yes.
I think it strains credulity that the Liberal Party allows people who otherwise would not be able to vote in a Canadian election because they're not citizens to somehow vote in a nomination in the selection of the candidate that ultimately runs an election which they wouldn't be able to vote in. How does that make any sense? There's no common sense there, and that needs to clearly be addressed by that party. And the fact that Justin Trudeau continues to turn a blind eye to the blatant acts of foreign interference in our country is shameful, disgraceful, and he needs to go and take that walk on the beach.
Do you think you will continue to sit independently, or you are thinking maybe to join the Conservative Party?
So, I mean, I've said it a number of times now that if there's an opportunity to be able to help fix the problems that our country is facing, who wouldn't want to be a part of that, right? And I think there are experience and perspectives that I bring. For example, someone that knows what it's like to have to worry about paying next month's rent, or someone that's actually had to cut fresh food just so I wouldn't go hungry. Those are lived experiences that are clearly missing right now from Justin Trudeau's cabinet, that's missing from the government. And if there's an opportunity to be able to fix problems in Canada, I would welcome it.
Don't forget to go over rebelfieldreports.com, chip in what you can. Every dollar counts, since we are not accepting money from the government, but we need you to be able to continue our independent journalism and to show you the other side of the story. Don't go over rebelfieldreports.com.